Assalamu alaikum students. In today's lecture, I'm going to talk about the cubic and exponential sequences. And in the previous lecture, I told you that how we will be going on with the quadratic sequences, you can say. So for cubic sequence, basically, we need to move towards the third difference. In the previous sequence, we were going up till just the second difference. But if, for example, they have given you a sequence and you are finding the difference of the sequence, the first, second, and up to third difference, you are getting the number. So that will be basically called the cubic sequence. So the general form for the cubic sequence is basically T(n)(a)(n) cube plus B(n) square plus Cn plus D. So the process of finding out the cubic sequence is somehow similar to the one we have done previously, that is basically the quadratic sequence. But here, as we need to go on with A for the cubic sequence, so this will be a little bit different. Next, the thing that we need to discuss along with this cubic sequence in this exercise is exponential sequence. So exponential sequence or exponential equation or exponential things are basically in this way. As in the sequences, the general term that we are taking is according to n. So, or you can say the general alphabet that we are using. That is basically n. So if we are having n in the form of power, like any number being given under that as a base, and in the form of power, we have been given the n, that will be basically called the exponential sequence. For example, if we have 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, and so on. So the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 that have been represented in the form of power are basically representing n, because we know that n is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So that's why we can write it as 2 power n. So this will be basically termed as the exponential sequence. So according to this, we will be starting this exercise and in this exercise as exponential sequence as well as basically related, so both questions will be mixed. So let's start this. So starting with first question of exercise 1.4D. In the first question, the sequence that they gave us is 1, 8, 27, 64, and so on. So in this sequence, basically they are saying that you need to again find out the nth term of the sequences. So we will be finding out the first difference first of all. So for finding out the first difference, we will be subtracting the first term from the second term, like 8 negative 1 will be 7. Next, we need to subtract 27 and 8. So 27 negative 8 we will be doing in this way. So that will be 19. Next, we need to go with 64 negative 27. So that is basically coming 37, and it's the first difference. So as the first difference is not similar, so we will be going on with the second difference. So for this, we need to subtract 19 and 7. So that will be 12. From 37, now we need to subtract 19, the previous number. It's coming 18. So this is basically your second difference. And as far as like the second difference is not similar, we need to move towards the third difference. So from 18, we need to subtract 12, and that will be 6. So this is basically the third difference. So if you have been gone up to the third difference of a sequence, so that means that it will be termed as the cubic sequence. And the nth term for the cubic sequence is basically Tn equals to a(n) cube plus bn plus c equal and bn square plus cn and plus d. So this is basically the general term. So here, first of all, we need to find out a. And a will be represented as 6a equals to the last term of the third difference. Basically, in the cubic sequence with a, you will be using 6 each time to find out the a. And you will put that equals to the last term of the cubic sequence. In this way, so your 6 by 6 will give you 1. So this is basically the value for the a. It means that the next sequence that you are going to make it with 1n cube. Okay, so you can just leave this one. So the purpose of writing n cube is that we are going to make a sequence with this n cube, and then we are going to subtract these terms accordingly. So 1 cube will be 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64, and so on. So you can check exactly we are getting the similar terms that they gave us before. So rather than subtracting, we can just directly go that the nth term of the sequence is just n cube, because subtracting each term from the given sequence term, we will be getting 0. So no need to go on with the 0, adding 0 here. You can just go with nth term as Tn is equals to n cube. So this is your nth term for the first part. Next, we need to move towards the next part, and that is your part number 2. So part number 2 is really easy. Like here, we will be going on with the exponential sequence. So the idea I'm getting, because all the numbers are showing us the multiples of 2, so that can be termed as exponential sequence as well, because we can make them in the power of 2, like 2, 4, 8, 16, and so on. If you can carefully check this, I can write the powers as 2 power 1, 4 I can write as 2 square, 8 I can write as 2 cube, and 16 I can write as 2 raised to the power 4. So all the numbers in the power 1, 2, 3, 4, they basically represents 4. Basically they represents n. So your nth term for this sequence is 2 power n. That is basically an exponential sequence. Okay, so second part is basically your exponential sequence. Next, for the third one as well, if we will be checking, this as well is giving us the exponential sequence. Let's find out. Third part is we have been given the sequence as 1, 3, 9, 27. So here basically, if we want to go on with the sequence for this one, you can check that the numbers that have been given, we can write them in the power of 3. Like first number is 3 raised to the power 0, then 3 raised to the power 1. Why I'm writing 1 as 3 raised to the power 0? Because any number to the power 0 gives us 1. Okay, so at the place of 1, we can write 3 raised to the power 0, because still this will give us 1. And here if there isn't any power given, so we can write power 1 in this way. So 3 square and 3 cube. So as we have been given the powers of 3, but as far as the n we are concerned with, that basically starts from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But the powers that have been given are starting from 0. So for that reason, what we can do, we can go on with 1, negative 1. Okay. This will be 2, negative 1, 3, negative 1. 4, negative 1. Still, we will be having similar powers, but the subtraction is basically showing us the numbers starting from the n exactly. Like, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. And negative 1 in the power is common for all of these. So your nth term of the sequence will be 3 raised to the power n negative 1. So this can be one way to represent the nth term of an exponential sequence. Okay, let's move towards the next part, that is part number 4. And let's see what kind of sequence the part number 4 is. Okay, for part number 4, basically, we will be first writing down the sequence and we will be taking the differences. So part number 4 is having the numbers as 13, 20, 39, 76, and so on. So taking the first difference, 20, negative 13, the first difference will be, and it will be 7. Next, we need to go with 39, negative 20, and it will be 19. Next, we need to go with 76. And from this, we need to subtract 39, that is 37. This is your first difference. Or next, we need to go on with the second difference. So from 19, we need to subtract 7, and it will be 12. From 37, we need to subtract 19, and it's coming 18. So this is your difference 2. And for the third difference, this will be again 6. So this will be difference 3. So as we got 6 again, so for finding out a, as for the exponential sequence, we have the nth term as a n cube plus bn square plus cn plus d. So for finding out a, we are going to write 6a equals to the last term of the third difference, that is basically 6 again. So your value for the a is coming 1. Accordingly, you can make the the cubic sequence as n cube because your a is 1. So using this first term of the sequence, you can make another sequence. So 1 cube will be 1, 2 cube will be 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube will be 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, and 4 cube will be 64, and so on. So this is basically the sequence we got. After that, finding out the sequence, what we will be going on with the similar process of quadratic sequence that we used. What you will do, the sequence that they gave us already, we will be writing this sequence first, as we have 13, 20, 39, 76, and so on. Under this, we are going to write down the sequence that we made by n cube, that we have 1, 8, 27, 64, and so on, and we are going to subtract these all. So we are going to subtract all these numbers. So 13 negative 1 will be 12. 20, from 20 we need to subtract 8. This will be also 12. Next we need to subtract 39 and 27. This will be also 12, and this will be also 12. So as we got all the numbers similar, so yeah, you got that your cubic sequence, that will be n cube plus 12. So this is your cubic sequence. Whenever like the difference you are getting similar, you can just add that difference. So that will be your nth term of the sequence. So this is your part number 4. So similarly, they will give you some questions according to this. So you can check them. Next, for the fifth one, if we would be checking the fifth one, let's see how we can go with this. We have the numbers as 6, 18s, 54, 162, and so on. Okay, so here, what I'm thinking is that the numbers that they gave are basically, we can write them as multiples of 2 as well, like 2 times 3. Then similarly, we can make it as 2 times 9, 2 times 27. In this way, we are getting the numbers exactly as the numbers that we got before for writing down the power of 3. So that's why I'm just making them in this way. So next 2 times this will be 81. Okay, so in this way, the numbers we got. So writing the nth term for this sequence is really easy. Like 2 is common for all of these. Like you can check 2 is common for all of these. And along with this, we have the sequence as 3 power 1. Or right, let me show you. 2 times 3 power 1, 2 times 3 power 2, 2 times 3 power 3, 2 times 3 power 4, and so on. So accordingly, we can make the sequence as 2 times 3 power n. So this is basically the exponential sequence. Okay. Okay, let's move towards the next part, that is the part number 6. Okay, so part number 6 is being given as negative 4, 3, 22, 59, and so on. So let's take out the differences. So the first difference will be, as your first number is negative, so 3 negative negative will be positive. So it will be 3 positive, 4 will be 7. Okay, next is 22, negative 3. So it will be 19. For the next difference from 59, we need to subtract the previous number, that is 22, and it's coming 37. This is your difference 1. Okay. Okay, let's find out the second difference. From 19, we need to subtract 7, it's coming 12. From 37, we need to subtract 19, and it's coming 18. This is your difference 2. And for the last one, we are again getting the 6, number 6. So your difference will be, according to Tn, equals to an cube plus bn square plus cn plus d. So first we need to find out a. For finding out a, we will be writing 6a equals to the last term of the sequence. So a will be equals to 1. So according to n cube, again, you are going to make a sequence. So this will be 1 cube 1, 2 cube will be 8, 3 cube 27, 4 cube is basically 64, and so on. So here we got the sequence. Okay, so after getting this sequence with n cube, we are going to again write down the sequence that we were having already. We have -4, 3, 22, 59, and so on. And from this, we need to subtract the sequence that we got according to n cube. We have 1, we have 8, 27, 64, and so on. So now we are going to subtract all these numbers together. Okay, so the first number basically that we have is -4, -1, this will be -5, 3, -8 will be also -5, 22, -27, -5, and this will be also -5. So as we got the nth difference similar, so we will be writing the nth term as n cube -5. So this is your nth term of the sequence for part number 6. So hope so this one is basically getting clear. So randomly now I'm picking up some questions and let's do them together, that how we will be going on with these. Okay, so next is, okay, let's go with the part number 7. And in part number 7 is the sequence as 9, 11, 15, 23, and so on. Okay, for this as well, let's find out the differences. The first difference, 11 -9 will be 2. Okay, 15 -11 will be 4. And 23 -15 will be 8. Okay, here we got a sequence, like after finding the first difference, we got a sequence that is basically showing us the powers of 2. Like we can have this sequence as 2, 4, 8, and so on. This is 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, and so on. That is basically representing by 2 power n. So if the sequence is basically 2 power n, so we can check that what basically the difference in these numbers so that we can add or subtract. Like here, if I will be checking, my first number is 2, and the first number over here is 9. So accordingly, the difference if I will be taking, so 9 -2 will be 7, 11 -4 will be 7, 15 -8 as well. Yes, one by one we need to check the differences. And this will be also 7. So as each time we need to add 7 in this sequence to get the previous sequence that they gave us. So your nth term of the sequence over here is 2n plus 7. Okay. So as your n is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. So that's why I've just chosen this 2, 4, 8 as my power of 2. And then the power of 2, I just change according to this. So this is basically the nth term of the sequence for part number 7. Okay, so let's move towards part number 8. Okay, so the part number 8, the sequence that they give is 2, 10, 30, and 68, so on. So first, let's find out the first difference. That will be 10 -2, 8, 30 -10, 20. And we need to go with 68 -30. So that's just coming 38. Okay, let's go on with the second difference. So 20 -8, it will be 12. And 38 -20, it's coming 18. And your third difference is coming 6. So your A value will be 6, A equals to 6. The last number of your third sequence, and A is coming 1. So you will be again going to make the sequence by n cube. So 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cubes 27, 4 cube is 64, and so on. So now you are going to make a sequence using the terms that they gave us. We have 2, 10, 30, 68, and so on. And under this, we are going to make a sequence by 1, 8, 27, 64. This sequence we just got by using this n cube. And now we are going to subtract all these numbers together. So 2 -1 will be 1. Okay, 10 negative 2 will be 10 negative 8 will be 2, 30 negative 27 3, 68 negative 64 is 4, and so on. Okay, these are basically representing n, like 1, 2, and 3, 4, so on. So your nth term will be n cube plus n. And here n basically represents the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this is also one way to write down the sequence. Like one, I have told you that if you have a similar number at the end, so similar number basically show you can just add that at the end. Otherwise, if you are getting the numbers like this, so you can add n as well at this place. Okay, so this is your part number 8. Now let's move towards the part number 9, where they're saying in this. Let's find out. We have the sequence as 0, 4, 18, 48, and so on. So now we are going to find out the first difference. So 4 negative 0 will be 4. Next, we need to go with 18 negative 4, and it will be 14. Okay, next is 48. From 48, we need to subtract the previous number, that is 18, and it's coming 30. So this is your difference 1. Let's find out the next difference. 14 negative 4 will be 10. And from 30, we need to subtract 14. It's coming 16. This is your difference 2. And the third difference will be 16 negative 10 will be 6. This is your third difference. So again, as the end term of the sequence is coming as 6 again, so you will be having your a as 6 equals to 6, and a will be 1. So again, making the sequence similar by n cube. So we'll be having 1, 2 cube will be 8, 3 cube 27, 4 cube 64, and so on. So let's go on with the difference of the sequences. We need to write down the sequence that they gave us first. So we have 0, 4, 18, 48, and so on. Under this, we are going to write down the sequence that we are having 1, 8, 27, 64, and so on. And we are going to subtract all these numbers together. So 0, negative 1 will be negative 1. 4, negative 8, this will be negative 4. Okay, like here the sequences that we are getting will be in the form of negative numbers. Next we have 18 negative 27, and it's coming negative 9, and we have at the last as 48 negative 64, and it's coming negative 16. So the numbers after taking the differences are not similar. So here after cubic sequence, you need to move towards the quadratic sequence. So for that, again, we will be finding out the differences. And if your second difference, up to the second difference, the numbers you are getting are similar, then that will be termed as your quadratic sequence. So let's find out the difference. So first difference will be negative 4, positive 1, because negative 4, and after that we need to subtract the previous number. So that's when negative 1, negative, negative will be positive here in this way. So negative 4 and positive 1, this will represent as negative 3. Because the 4 is a number that is a greater number. And if 4 is having negative sign, what does that show? That the number will be having negative sign as well. So negative 9, positive 4. So negative 9, positive 4 will be negative 5. And the next number will be negative 16, positive 9. Okay, similar thing. Negative 16 and positive 9. So this is showing us negative 7. So let's find out the differences again. Negative 5, positive 3, this will be 2. And sorry, negative 2. And here as well, negative 2. So you can check that after finding out the second difference, I got exactly the similar number. So accordingly, I need to make another sequence that will be with this, because I need to find out the number like as the nth term of the sequence, like the cubic sequence is an cube plus bn plus c bn square plus cn plus t. Here now, after finding out a, we need to move towards finding out the b. So for finding out the b over here, as we have the last term as negative 2, so we need to put that negative 2 equals to 2b equals to negative 2, the last term of the sequence. So b will be equals to negative 1. So now we will be making a sequence by negative n square. Okay, so negative n square will be like negative sign will remain over here because negative sign is not applying with the square. So negative 1 square will be negative 1, negative 2 square will be negative 4, then negative 3 square will be negative 9, negative 4 square will be negative 16, and so on. Okay, here we got the sequence for the quadratic sequence as well. After this, what basically we are going to do is we are going to subtract again this sequence that we just got from the previous sequence, okay? The sequence this we were having after subtracting the terms. So the sequence that we have is -1, -4, -9, -16, and so on. And the sequence that we got is exactly similar. -1, -4, -9, -16, and so on. So after subtracting these, the negative negative will be positive. So here we will be getting zeros at the end. So it means that this sequence will be only negative n square. So after combining them both like this n cube and n square, the nth term of this sequence will be n cube negative n square. Okay, now this is basically the nth term of the part number 9, because here we need to combine the cubic and the quadratic term. So if we will be talking about the cubic sequence, sometimes with the cubic sequence you will be having the quadratic one, sometimes linear, sometimes a constant number. So this depends with the question to question. So this is basically the nth term of the part number 9. So hope so this one is clear. Let's see what's next. So only one part is remaining, that is part number 10. And in the part number 10, again, they gave us a sequence. So we need to check that what kind of sequence is this. Okay. So again, we can check out the differences. So let's find out. We have the part number 10 as 3, 12, 35, 80, and so on. Okay. So again, we need to find out the differences. So let's find out the difference. First, we need to subtract 12 and 3. So 12 negative 3 will be 9. Next, we need to subtract 35 and 12. So 35 negative 12 is 23. 80 negative 35. So that is coming 45. Okay, next difference, 23 negative 9. That will be 14. And 45 negative 23 is 22. And at the end, 22 negative 14 is 8. Okay, so here the third up to third difference, we are not getting a similar number, or you can say the multiple of 6, because for the third one difference we need to put that 6 say equals to some number, so that could be the multiple of 6. So that's why we need to go on with another thing that can make it a sequence according to the exponential one might be. Okay, for going on with exponential sequence, as these are not basically representing any power of any number, so for this one reason we can break these numbers into some powers. Like for example, we have 3, 12, 35, and 80. Okay, yeah, what we can make 3 into, we can write as 1 plus 2. Okay, so in this way we will be breaking up the numbers. 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 will be 3. Okay, next will be 4. The next is 12. So we need to have 4 next. So 12 negative 4 is 8. So we can write 8 plus 4. Next is 35. So what I need to have like 2, 4, and then I want to have 8. So from 35, if I'm going to subtract 8, I'm getting 27 plus 8. And the last is 80. So I need to have here 2 power 4, and that is 16. So from 80, if I'm going to subtract it, so it's coming 64. So 64 plus 16. So the numbers that I'm making right now, basically some are showing us the power of 2. How? Like I can show you 1 plus 2 power 1, 8 plus 2 power 2, 27 plus 2 power 3, 8. Also 64 plus 2 power 4, 16. Now the numbers that are other than that of these powers of 2 we can write them here. Okay, the other numbers we have are 1, this one. Then we have 8, 27, 64, and so on. So all of these numbers, we need to find out the sequence with this number. So let these numbers, we will be going on with the differences again. So 8 negative 1 is 7. From 27, we need to subtract 8 and it's coming 19. From 64, we need to subtract 27. So that is coming 37. Okay. Next is 19 negative 7 and it's coming 12. 37 negative 19 is coming 18. And 18 negative 12 will be 6. So we can make a sequence by 6 a equals to 6 and a will be 1. It means that the sequence we can make is with NQ. That will be again 1, 8, 27, 64. So that is exactly the similar sequence that they gave us at the start. So it means that after subtracting, we will be getting n cube again. So what this sequence is basically showing us that the numbers that we have here, here, and here, these numbers are showing us n cube, and the rest of the numbers, as we have two powers of 2, like 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, are showing us the exponential sequence, that is 2 power n. So for writing the nth term of the sequence, we can write like the numbers as n cube, the first numbers, and adding up in this the exponential sequence, that is 2 power n. So this is basically the nth term of the sequence, part number 10. So sometimes we need to combine the sequences as well as the cubic and exponential one. So this is one of the example, and quite important as well. So this is basically the last part of this 1.4D. Hope so this exercise is clear to you all. So see you until the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.